And then, all right. All right, ladies. Okay. What just happened? Can y'all see? What just happened?
Well, I see you.
I can't see you guys.
I see all of you. Yeah, see everybody.
Okay. Okay, cool. We're on. Okay. Okay. All right, ladies. So thank you guys for joining me. So we have Jackie Abrams from Meaningful Milestones, and she does ABA therapy. And we have Jennifer McConnell from Brooklyn CDC. She's the director. And then we have Emily Rivers, the executive director at the Nurturing Center. And so me and Jennifer was having a conversation about 2 weeks ago about how COVID-19 and how it has affected the early childhood services and early childhood education, but we just really haven't been seeing too much discussion on it. And I know Jennifer was talking about how she's advocated in certain spaces to make sure that early childhood teachers are being considered and groups, and we're talking about essential workers and stuff like that. And so I wanted to have a conversation about how COVID-19 affects our early childhood education and our early childhood services. And so, Jackie, I want to start off with you and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your services and your population that you serve.
Sure. So I'm Jackie Abrams. I'm the owner director of Meaningful Milestones. We're based out of Lexington, but we serve the Columbia-Lexington area. We are a behavioral health center of excellence, and we serve mostly individuals with autism right now. We are in the process of expanding to being like a multidisciplinary facility. We're in the process of trying to hire our first speech therapist. So I'm excited about that. I've been in the ABA field over 15 years. And so I started up north in like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and I've been here in South Carolina for about 11 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Jackie. Jennifer, can you share a little bit about what you do in the services?
Sure. So I'm Jennifer McConnell. I'm the director at Brooklyn Academy Child Development Center. I started there as a teacher in 2005, and in 2009, I became the assistant/interim director, and then later became the director. So I've been there now for 15 years. It's been exciting from going from the classroom to being the director because you see both sides of the spectrum. And then I also serve on a local state board for early childhood development. So I'm all things early childhood, anything I can do to advocate for teachers, students, and parents, that's all me. So I'm just excited that we're going to have the conversation today.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. All right, Miss Emily.
Hey guys, my name is Emily and I'm the executive director at the Nurturing Center. We provide a variety of services. We do individual therapy, family therapy. We have a daily service where parents actually attend with their children. We do trauma services. So we are essentially a behavioral health facility. So it kind of runs the gamut on the different services that we provide. We treat different diagnoses. We have licensed mental health professionals on staff, as well as support staff in the classrooms that help out with our daily service. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what the Nurturing Center is.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Of course, I hope everybody knows I'm South Carolina Development Training. My name is Ashley Gatson. I'm the founder and director. We've been providing professional development trainings in the state for a long time. I've been a certified trainer through formerly Four Season D, but now SC Endeavors since 2008. And a lot of my trainings that I do is provided to early childhood teachers in the area of professional development and child growth and development in curriculum. Okay, all right. So the first question I wanted to ask is just a general question, how is COVID-19 impacting your business or your services that you're providing for your family? Anybody can go first. Anybody?
Wasn't sure if we were going one by one here. So I guess just in general, we've had to make a lot of changes just as far as putting procedures in place to be sure that everybody's protected from the population that we serve to the staff members. Just in general, the lack of resources that we can refer our population to. So the clients that we serve, a lot of the places that we would make referrals to, try to connect them to resources, that's scarce right now because a lot of places are not open or they're not running at full capacity. So it really, our transportation has really ramped up because people can't get around as easily because of how they've done the bus schedules. So, I mean, really in all facets, I would say that in some way it has touched the services that we provide.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say it's similar for us. You know, we provide in-home services, so we don't have a facility right now that we have to worry about, but we previously had multiple therapists on the team providing that in-home service, and so we transitioned everybody to just having one RBT, registered behavior technician, with one child or one client, and then our BCBAs transitioned to providing telehealth services to try to minimize the exposure in the homes.
And in our area, being that we are a child development center for children ages 6 weeks to age 4, we've actually been closed since March the 16th. Generally, when we decide to close is because we are following guidance of our local and state government officials, to include the governor and the state superintendent, and then also our school district. We're in Lexington School District 2. And so we serve 91 children in our program for this school year. And it's just been one of those decisions where you decide what's the best thing for everyone when it comes in mind to say about staff, when it comes in mind about children, because we have teachers that are over the age of 65. We have staff persons that have underlying health conditions. We also have teachers that had children that were automatically put on e-learning at home. So it's one thing that, we sacrifice a whole lot in early childhood because the teacher most often is also a parent. And so when a school district makes a decision about children learning at home, who's going to teach that teacher's child? So at the same time, we're always trying to make sure that we're not going to neglect any one population, but because we are an essential service, we try to make sure that we could be there to serve our parents. But when you ask questions about how do you mitigate risk, how do you do social distancing with the children, how do you just ensure that you will actually have staff that will be there if the children show up, or will children be there for when the staff is there? So we decided to close, and we are still closed currently, and it's all because our health officials have given us guidance. Of course, the school districts have done guidance and said schools will be out for the remainder of the year, but we still haven't seen any decrease per se in numbers as it pertains to the virus. When we come back into our environment, we want to make sure that we are creating a safe space for children. That's the first priority in our mission, is to provide a healthy, safe, and nurturing environment. And so we do all those things on a daily basis. And some people say, well, in childcare, we work with sick children all the time, because it's not unusual for a child to come to school with a temperature, or a child to get, hand, foot, and mouth while they're at school. But when it comes to a virus that, of course, you can't see, but there's also no medication or vaccine for it, it gives you a heightened alert of how to take care of everyone in your environment. So we're working through the challenges that it presents, but we have been so fortunate to have patient parents who understood our concerns and understand the safety of not just their child, but everybody's child, about every parent, every staff person. And so they've actually been working with us, and we've been keeping the lines of communication open, just so they know we're not making aimless decisions without, putting some real thought into it. Making decisions these days have become harder, not easier. But we are thankful that we had parents that understood why we have chosen to close. And later today, we'll have a conversation with our parents to even take it a step further, to continue the conversation, that connection and communication, so they know we are still here to support them, but we are also trying to make sure we're keeping everybody safe.
Thank you. And you brought up the next question I was going to ask, as far as what type of precautions are you guys setting in place? I know you said, Jackie, you guys are doing telelearning with your therapist, and I know, Jennifer, you're closed, but Emily, the nurturing center is still open and you got families coming in. How are you guys taking precaution as far as social distancing and making sure that you're maintaining safety and all those good things with the families and your children that come in?
Sure. So we've distributed masks to our staff members. We follow the CDC guidelines as far as cleaning the facility. We wipe things down after each, like the waiting area, for example. If somebody sits out there, we wipe that down. We separate people as they come in. We have signs up where everybody has to wash their hands whenever they come into the facility. If anybody has a temperature, we do not schedule an appointment with them. We encourage them not to attend services. We've been advocating and sending out with the free testing sites. So there's lots of different things that we have put into place. We have fewer numbers in our classrooms so that we can utilize social distancing. Just a lot of different things like that to follow the CDC guidelines, so that we can keep, as Jennifer mentioned, staff and families and clients safe, so they continue to receive those services.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. All right, so the next question I have you guys noticed, and I know, Jennifer, you're closed, but that still doesn't mean people aren't probably looking in the future to enroll kids. Have you guys noticed a difference in your referrals, and as far as with your kiddos and your families? Emily, are you still getting referrals for families, the same as you, Jackie? Kids that are, because they still need services, right? Services are still being needed even though all this is going on. So, and I know ABA therapy has always been scarce, right? As far as getting services. So are you guys still getting referrals in? Have you noticed an influx or a decrease in it since this pandemic has started?
So the answer for me is yes. We still are getting parents that are interested. At the center, we actually have a waiting list of parents that were anticipating enrolling for the 2020-2021 school year. And we have also already had our parents to begin registration for the new school year. So we're excited that parents are still interested in the services that we provide. And one thing that I keep saying out loud is that childcare has always been essential. Since Big Mama, since Aunt Jenny, since the church, we're watching children. In order for families to effectively go to work and to have a productive, that is why it's so critical that we have high quality preschool programs, or we have places at the nurturing center that can provide that parenting skill, so they'll know what to look for when they go out beyond the nurturing center and what to find. because at the end of the day, parents are going to have to go back to work. Some of them are already at work or never stop working, but they always want the reassurance that you're going to be providing a safe place. When we have parents that entrust us with children, we want to be sure that it starts with the first thing, which is cleanliness. You know, when people come into our building, they automatically state, oh, it smells good. I'm so glad it doesn't smell like a typical childcare center. And because you begin that customer service with your eyes, you begin that feel of how you're going to feel comfortable in a space by smelling, by hearing. And those are the things that I want our parents to continue to do. So when we do a tour with families, we try to make it very personal for them, because this is, you know, first impression. They want to know that you're there and our staff is. And so we've done things like have staff to take the hand washing training. So when we talk to parents, we will be able to say, these are steps we are taking to ensure the safety of your child. But we're excited that we still have a waiting list, and we have families that have registered, and we believe that we will not be going anywhere. You know, our will reopen. It's just that right now it is safer to be closed than to be open.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and we've actually seen a big increase in our referrals. Like I mentioned, when we first got started, we are one of the few places that have been able to remain open. So everybody's looking for a referral source. Everybody's looking for a resource out there. And so we actually have seen a huge increase in our referrals just because people are looking everywhere for someplace to get these therapy services because they're just at such a minimum right now.
Yeah, and for us, you know, it's remained steady with maybe a slight increase. We had some families that moved to just receiving parent training, and we have some families that are calling that are just seeking out that parent training and support, you know, because now everybody's home, they're trying to manage school, they're trying to manage home, they're, you know, and just need, you know, a little support sometimes. But for us, it's remained pretty steady.
That's good.
And actually, I would add to that, it's going to be very critical that the preschool programs that will remain after we get a handle on the virus, or we get a better understanding of how to properly manage our environments with the children and the virus among us, that we remember that there is going to be an uptick in enrollment, because some child care centers that have closed and will not be reopening. And going to be children that's going to be in need. So this also is the time where if there was a person that's very passionate about working with children and families, and they've had the desire to open a child care center, this might be the time to open a child care center and open it with the thought in mind that, no, I can't do overcrowding. No, I can't do it the old school way, but set it up the right way from the beginning and be prepared, because the children are out there. That's the reason why I've never felt like I needed to be in competition with another child care center, because there's enough children to go around to everybody. It's great that the school district has offered additional programs for 3 and 4K children, but truthfully, private care is the ultimate care because it's very personal. You create families when those children attend your centers. And so for the person who's out there that's still wanting to be a child care provider, don't give up on it. It is a hard job. It is risky, and it does come with headaches. But at the end of the day, it is more rewarding than it is a headache, because you get to see the benefits of the milestones and the relationships that you created, and children that send you pictures years after years, letting you know how they've progressed. So we may see a decrease in number at this point, just because parents are fearful about sending children. But when they become comfortable, they're going to come knocking, and we need to be prepared.
Yeah, to Jennifer's point, I think that is, I think that's true across the board with most of the community supports. I think all of us here are probably going to see a lot of referrals come in, because unfortunately, a lot of them are nonprofits, a lot of them are small businesses, and they're not going to be able to start back up whenever all of this is over with. So to her point, I think that that's something that everybody has to prepare for.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. I mean, just in Columbia alone, I know of 2 providers providing ABA that have closed since December, and so that's a huge impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great, definitely. Thank you guys. So the next thing is, with all that, how is COVID-19 affecting your families and your children that you see? I know, you see them on a daily basis. You're keeping in communication with your families and your and the kiddos that you have. How do you see it like affecting their personal lives? I know we talked about transportation and stuff like that, and getting more resources. Have you seen it really affect their lives? And what type of tools are you helping them with so they can better handle how this is affecting their lives, and be coping skills that you've provided maybe with your families or children to help them get through this?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that we've seen is just the amount of added stress that just kind of happened in a 24-hour period. Schools shut down, businesses shut down, people became stay-at-home parents, people became school teachers overnight, and it has caused a lot of stress and strain in at least the families that we see. Even if we're seeing somebody for like an individual therapy session for a child, you can feel it within the home that there's all of this other movement, there's all this other chaos, because nobody knows quite how to deal with it. So we've actually been doing a lot more family therapy with that, a lot more work with the parent, with the child in therapy sessions, a lot more allowing the child to share what's going on with them. So we've been trying to do a lot more as a family unit, because it is affecting everyone. We don't live in a bubble, and what happens to one person within the home's happening to everybody.
That's a really good idea. Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, we try to check in with our families on a weekly basis just to see if there's any like additional support we can provide them, or, connect them with other people for outside services that, would fall outside of our scope. And I know that we've also increased the frequency of our parent training, as well as kind of adjusted the time. So our hours are typically like a 8 to 7 type, day for us as a company. But what we found is that the parents were able to be better engaged if we waited, until their child was in bed or in the morning before they got up. And so we've seen a lot of parents taking advantage of, those services too.
Okay, great.
And I will say, thank God for Zoom. Other platforms and connections that have been created to keep us in contact. It's amazing how we can see that good thing God doesn't operate like how we plan. I planned for the right now. He planned for the day that was going to come, like now, where we can have the opportunity to talk to each other in different spaces and location. And so when we closed, we decided to stay connected with our families through e-learning. So that has really helped just to keep small children engaged, because for them, out of sight, out of mind, they will forget. That's one. But number two is they don't really understand what happened to my friend, what happened to my teacher. And so we wanted to make sure that they understood that we are still here. We've had days where we walked through the school and did a tour just so they can see that the school is here. We did a hello parade so they could come by and just wave at the teachers. But the things that we stress the most with parents is that this is the opportunity to try to reinforce and encourage children not putting things in their mouth. A part of the developmental milestone for children, of course, that they're going to be learning through texture and play and all this goodness. But as they are 2 and up, we can begin to continue to encourage them not to put their hands in their mouth, the importance of washing their hands. We did a drop-by for the graduates to stop by the academy, and the children knew that they needed to do air hugs or they needed to do elbow bumps. And those are all the things that we can do in order to stay connected, but also to have those teachable moments so they know that, things are or has changed. Hopefully, our love bugs can go back to hugging each other the way they love hugging. But right now, the main thing is trying to teach and instill our small persons that they have to be socially distant for a while, just until we figure out how we can adapt to the new normal.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So to that, how are you keeping your employees motivated? And have you guys been able to retain your employees that you've had before? Prior to this pandemic, have you been able to retain them? And how are you keeping them motivated and encouraged to hang in there? We'll get through this. So how are you guys doing that?
Mine is prayers up. Mine is prayers up. I'm just sending up the prayers because when it first started, it was the connection to keep teachers engaged with children, children engaged with teachers. Because I was thinking, oh, maybe this would be a 2-week, 3-week ordeal, and it's back to business. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. So now that our teachers are doing somewhat still connected with the children, not because they are required to, but because of relationships that were built, I'm just with prayer hoping that the teachers will return. And I've even encouraged them that if you find something else during this time frame that is meaningful to you or more beneficial to you and your family, you have to make those hard choices. It'll be great that they all return when this is all said and done, but to be realistic, people have to take care of their families first.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hope and desire is that when we do reopen, we'll have the teachers that God has sent for us to have, and retain those that we're supposed to retain. But I keep connection with them either through text messages or they've called a time or two, stop by the school when I'm there working. We actually celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week together. So it's the little things, of course, but truthfully, you're trying not to also overstep. I'm trying not to overstep my boundary because you can almost cross the line of being nosy. So I don't want to seem nosy, but I definitely have asked them, if you found something else, let me know. If you are going to choose to return when you come, when this is all said and done, I'll be happy to receive you. But trying to keep an open mind, knowing that there are going to be a lot of opportunities available. And if that's what they should choose, then I just hope that they stay connected by letting me know that they moved on.
Yeah, and we've, at the Nurturing Center, we've been able to retain all of our staff, which has been really awesome.
Yes,
since we are still able to have clients come in, since we were essential to be able to stay open. And so that's been really good. I think that has provided some relief to us, not having to worry about, are we having to furlough staff? Are we having to lay people off? That's job security in what we do. And it's not always easy because you kind of see the other side of it where it looks like people are just at home doing nothing, right. But in reality, they're still doing their jobs. They're working hard, and it's harder to try to do it at home. Right. So we've been very fortunate to be able to still provide those services, for us to still be employed, and for the Nurturing Center to still be here through this.
Great.
It's pretty similar for us as it is, for the Nurturing Center. We have retained our staff, and one thing we do just as an organization is every week we kind of do like a weekly check-in, so scale of 1 to 5, where do you fall this week? And anybody who's below a 3 for multiple weeks, we like set up a phone call or like this or a Zoom, to be able to see each other face to face and talk about what's going on, and to see, if there's anything we can do to help support them.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, guys. So where do we go from here? As early childhood providers, providing early childhood services, where do we go from here? Will things go back? Do you guys think, for one, will things go back to be the same? I personally don't believe. I think this is a pivotal step into a new direction, a new way we're going to provide services. But that's just my opinion. But do you think things will go back to being the same? And so where do we go from here? How, from here on out, for the next 5 years, how will we provide services? Will we still be using social distancing and practicing the strict safety guidelines? What do you guys think?
I think it's hard to say that we would ever go back to the way that it was before. I think we'd be really naive if we thought that. I think that I think there are more changes to come. I think that there's more things that will be put into place for all of us, more expectations that are going to be put into place, which again makes our jobs even harder. It seems like we tend to being been a social service arena and being in a helping profession. It seems like we always catch the most difficulties. And so I only see that heightening for all of us, everybody in this meeting. I think it's just going to get progressively harder to provide the services that we do. But to that same token, I think where we go from here is that we are a support and we catch everybody. Again, our jobs are very demanding, but we have to be there for people. And this is a very critical time, and nobody really understands what's going on. Nobody has control over anything. It's very chaotic, and I think it's going to continue to be that. And we have to continue to be that support system for the community. Yeah.
I was reading an article, Emily, you guys, and it was talking just the same thing you were saying. It was saying that with this pandemic, it shined a light on how these resources that you guys are providing, the Nurturing Center, Brooklyn CDC, Meaningful Milestones, these services that you guys are providing, how necessary it is. It really has shined a light on how necessary it is, and then how much that we need more of these services, that there's a lack of. So, yeah.
Well, and I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I feel like the state, the government, just larger entities outside of myself make it very difficult for me to do my job sometimes. So I can only see that getting harder. All of the policies and regulations that are going to go in place across the board. So I think that we're going to continue to change, but I feel like that we've made it this far that we're going all the way. Yes.
So I'm thinking it's only going to get better. We know that change is necessary. We know that change is hard. And we know that when change comes, people will resist. But through change, when you educate people and you allow to have a group of people to have a voice about whatever decision you're trying to make, you typically will have a better outcome. And so through us going through the changes that we are, it has been great that the spotlight has shined on the least of these to know that we are the greatest of these. And so the doctor becomes the doctor because it started at the foundational level, early childhood education. So when you get that foundation and you build upon it, you can get to where we are as in our professions, but even beyond our professions. But going backwards, God doesn't go backwards. We got to go forward. And we have to be excited about what the possibilities are going to be. Where I draw my hope from is the fact that childbirth has not stopped because of a pandemic. It didn't stop years ago when we were being born or thought of by our parents. Even through the scariest times, families still decided to grow their families. And when they decide to grow their families, they mean that they're also going to help to grow our businesses. And so it's a great day for us to remember that it seems uncomfortable right now. You don't understand it, but do hope in being surrounded by professionals like yourselves to say that, hey, it's going to be challenging because policies and procedures, we're talking about amending our handbook. Well, how about just throw out the handbook and start? How about some of the things that we were doing long before now, we should probably not have been doing, but we were doing it because we became so comfortable. So right, become uncomfortable to find out what's the best way to move left or right. But in the end, I only can see it becoming a great decision that we've made to embrace this moment where families are getting to spend more time with each other. Dinner is on the table at a decent time. Dads aren't hiding out at the office because work so-called has him busy. Kids can actually be kids, go outside and play. How often have you not heard a child know about going outside or seeing a baby that doesn't want to sit in the grass or in sand? It's because they never had that opportunity or experience. So I'm excited about what's to come. It does make me a little fearful about how the human reaction will be, but when it all turns out, I know that it's going to be for our good. And so I'm excited to know what it's going to be like. And for those people who are like, boy, I wish 2020 would start over, or I wish we can go ahead and get to 2021. We have to go through this in order to see what 2021 is even going to look like. And hopefully we'll be here to be a part of the story, to give the testimony of why it was great to have lived through 2020. So I'm just hopeful that this too shall pass.
Yeah. I mean, it's, similar for us, as both of you have stated, and, we don't have a facility right now. And so the question is, like, do we want one, or do we want to stay in home? And for us, like, we're probably going to maintain that 1-to-1, ratio of like one therapist to one home. Unfortunately, our telehealth is kind of guided by the medical insurance. And so coming at the beginning of June, our supervisors will be going back into the homes too. So we're taking those safety precautions where we've issued like PPE equipment, we're washing our hands at the beginning, the middle, and the end, or, whenever opportunities arise for those things. And on our documentation, we have, did the therapist conduct a well check? Did they pass it? Did the family conduct well checks on, the individuals that are in their home, to just try and keep everybody as safe as possible?
Yes, excellent.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And I did skip a question, but Emily, you touched on it a little bit, and but about the policy changes and how it's affected your business and your employees. Is any new policy changes that have came up affected your business or will affect? I know you just said something too, Jackie, about the insurance and how because a lot of your kiddos are getting insurance is paying for their services and stuff like that. Has any type of new policies that they've put out lately regarding COVID-19, has that affected your business?
So for us, they authorized telehealth probably the last week or so of March, I want to say, like right when we found out about everything and the schools closed, and it was, what are we going to do to keep everybody safe? And a lot of them authorized it through like June 1st or till June 15th. And we don't know if it's going to stick around, as a permanent approval, for us to continue with or not. We do have some new policies that we've sent to families just about, we're needing them to conduct well checks on individuals in their homes. If we bring materials in with us, like we're leaving them there, but we have their approval to bring them with us, and then, sit for 5 days or, however long we need to, depending on what they're made of. And then where the therapist isn't able to bring toys in and out like they used to, because they might, a family member or somebody might have played with them, and then you don't know where they've been. So whatever we bring has to stay in the home.
And I agree with Jackie, especially. I think that there have been some policies just outside of more like on a state and government level that have come into play. And I feel her uncertainty of it. So we don't know how long some of those policies will last. That's definitely a fear with things like telehealth. You don't want people to become accustomed to it because they're not going to pay it. You have to pay for after a certain date. So there's definitely some concerns on how long some of these policies are going to be into place, and what they're going to look like. I think everybody keeps looking for this end date of when everything goes back to normal, and that doesn't exist. And what does that look like for us when they do decide it's time to get rid of some of those policies or amend them? So, we kind of just can do the best that we can with our individual facilities and, make decisions that work best for the clients that we serve.
And
yeah, and some of it is like finding creative solutions, you know, like if they're not comfortable having multiple people in their home just yet, like what are our other options to make sure we're providing like that quality of service that we want to make sure we're providing.
Absolutely. We've been doing some visitations, some families that aren't comfortable coming for the daily service, but we still want families to get visitations. We've been scheduling on Fridays on a more one-on-one basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that to Jennifer's point of with the change, we all just kind of have to go with the flow. And while nobody really likes change per se, it's uncomfortable. It really, living in a nonprofit, living in a business world, change happens every single day and you just roll with it. So,
and our changes come through Department of Social Services and DHEC.
Mm-hmm.
And so since the pandemic has started, DSS has sent new guidelines almost once a week. We get a new email that says you could do this or you should do that. Ratio numbers are suggested. They've recently suggested that children wear masks in child care centers. So all those things come into play to help guide us through the uncertainties. And some of them you're going to have to decide if it's going to work. And I think that's why some of the centers even decided to close, is because once you begin to look at the rules and regulations, you begin to think, should I put myself in this situation, or will I be able to adhere? Most often, I don't think people wake up and say, I want to break the rules, but we do try and find, fancy ways to bend the rules. But at this point, you don't want to bend the rules and then jeopardize somebody's well-being, and that be because you didn't follow the guidelines. But with DSS being licensed child care center puts us in a situation where there are some rules that we're not going to be able to change. There's some rules we're just going to have to comply with, regardless if you like it or not, or if you want to keep a business or not, you're going to comply with those things. And so trying to just adhere to those policies and procedures that comes from the state, and blend them with what we do in our parent staff handbook is going to be very vital to our success of being able to remain open once we do reopen. Because that's one of the fear is if we have to start and stop, if we get into a situation and someone gets sick, or if, children don't enroll, you're basically walking right now blindfolded, not really knowing what's behind the next door. But you have to just trust that once you get to the door, hopefully wisdom and understanding will be there to give you that guidance that you need.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing and taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk about this. This was much needed. Thank you, Jennifer, for being that spark of idea when we were talking
You're welcome.
Weeks ago about it. And thank you guys, Jackie, Emily, Jennifer, for taking the time out and sharing some of this great information that otherwise may not have been heard in certain spaces. Lastly, I want you guys to please if you want to give your contact information, people want to reach out, maybe refer some more people to you guys, but just your contact information, and then we'll be done. So.
Sure. So we have a website. It's thenurturingcenter.org. And then also the referrals are actually on our website. We have two different options. You can submit it online or email it to me. And then you can call us 803-771-4160. We have an intake line or to get more information about referrals. So we're more than happy. And if we can't help you, we always try to find a resource that can help meet your need.
Thank you.
Our website is mstonesaba.com, and there's an interest form there. We don't maintain a wait list, just when we have openings, we're able to take clients. So we'll send information of like other resources in the community and things to maybe be able to support people who, can't access ABA right now. And our phone number is 803-714-3446.
Thank you.
And so I have to give a shout out to Emily because I'm a big fan of the Nurturing Center. I love the mission of the Nurturing Center, and I think you all do some amazing work there. And the next kudos would be to Jackie, because our center has therapists that come in and out of our center that becomes a part of our family environment. Many times when the therapists come in, they even can help assist the teachers with children, not because we ask them to, but because you come on a continuous basis, that the children begin to think that you're a part of the teaching staff too.
Yep.
You play with one child, you have to play with another child. So I think that's awesome. You know, and it just shows that it didn't just impact one person or one profession. It impacted all of us, because in one way or another, we are all connected. But I can be reached at Brooklyn Baptist Church. If you go to brooklynbaptist.org, the Child Development Center does have its individual page, Brooklyn Academy CDC. We are on that page, so it's brooklynbaptist.org. And then my office number is 803-744-7917. Currently, we are closed, and I do check in every now and then at the center. So if you would like to send me an email to get me faster, it would be jmcconnell@brooklyn.cc. And yes, it's .cc. So it's not an incorrect address. Thank you for doing this today.
Yeah, this is really
Yes,
great.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And until next time, you guys be safe and stay healthy.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
You too.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.